G'day, I'm Ben from Chervon Australia on the set of Lawn Care Skull Sessions, the most unprofessional podcast on the planet, with my mate, TBL Property Maintenance, the homie BJ.
What's cracking, G-Money?
Who we got today, brother?
We are joined in the not so often used podcast studio by Barry Crowhurst from Chervon. Is it Chervon Australia?
Dude, you cooked it straight away.
Yeah, I know, but
It's Chervon.
Chervon, absolutely.
But Chervon does sound a little
Chevron's involved in petrol and fuel. We're in battery.
I just panicked because you look so good, and I was like, yeah, definitely, this guy's involved in big money business. Petrol.
Oh, yeah.
Not paying any taxes in Australia with that.
Mate, I got the long pants on, the long shirt, and here on a...
I put them on, and I took them off so quick.
The industry's been good to Baz. Have a look at him.
Yeah, God.
Oh, what do you reckon? Have a look at you boys here. Wow.
Mate.
Oh, set up professional and all. So.
Yeah, I got me professional shoes on and everything.
I got pluggers on too. Big shout out to Skag for our new setup. Like this, you wouldn't have seen anything like this since, you might have seen Luke's or Gary's or something like that in the background, but not face to face.
Not in the flesh, mate.
No,
what I'm probably more impressed about is BJ, the DJ, on the soundboard over here. All the coloured lights, so...
I turned it down. So.
Should we show him what other sort of tricks we got in here?
like
a queef?
Oh, you want queef? Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, we got a little queef.
Did you have to do a course on this, mate? Or
No, I didn't. This is just how I do things. I just muck around.
Well, I can change it to a little, sexy voice if I want to, and we can play around.
All day, every day. I can just, I just basically got it out of the box, chucked it on the kitchen bench, chucked the headphones on, plugged it all in, and just went for it.
Give it a crack the Aussie way, right?
Mate, YouTube played a part, but mainly it's just trial and error.
Good old Dr. Google.
Speaking of YouTube, I think today's episode would be a good day to jump on and join us because, we don't always have guests here. We haven't had a lot of guests typically. Our schedules are clashing like anything. So you should feel very privileged that you're here.
You caught us at a good moment.
Nah, he just teed it up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
he just teed it up and we couldn't get out of it.
Baz contacted us. He's like, it's time to rock and roll again.
Look, enjoyed the last time I caught up with you boys. So
how long ago was that now?
I reckon it was close to 2 years.
I reckon it was close to 2 years. So travel's been a little limited, but we did miss out on the last time due to.
And I reckon it was your first opportunity to travel after COVID lockdowns.
It was.
Yes.
Damn.
And I think you had a mustache then, and now I see you're rocking a Knowlesy, a Shannon Knoll.
Yeah. The Knowlesy's always been there.
Okay, righto.
That's a decision by the wife.
Yep.
So the mustache grew into a beard, and I was basically told either remove that or remove yourself. So I was given an ultimatum, mate.
My missus actually doesn't mind a bit of the beard, but it's fully white. Like I look 20 years older.
I was much the same.
Yeah.
There was more salt than there was pepper.
Oh, well and truly.
I think if Lou saw me without a beard, she'd ditch me for sure.
I couldn't imagine you without a beard.
I'm hideous underneath
I
this.
actually got to be honest. I really liked you without a beard.
You wouldn't have seen me without a beard.
Remember the toady from Neighbours?
Yeah.
Toady?
When I had that shitty goatee.
That's exactly what he looked like.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
When we were like 15.
I had hair.
Yeah,
When we were like 15.
So when
BJ
did you grow
had
that beard?
Yeah.
About then.
Seriously, when we were about 15, BJ had like this real slick short thing and he used to get the scissors out on a Friday night.
Oh, it was perfect. That was actually, I brought that up to my wife the other day. I was like, you didn't know me then, Dales, but whenever I was going out, like the last thing I'd do before I left the house was have a shower or shit and just made myself presentable. Never worked. I never picked up when I went out. I always got too blind and ended up like fucking getting dragged home by someone or something. But you just never perform in those sort of situations.
We've all come a long way. So yeah, about 2 years ago, pal, and a lot has changed, not only with Ego, obviously lots have changed as well with BJ and I, but the whole industry. Just quickly before we get into some Ego stuff, like how have you seen the industry sort of change and evolve?
Oh, look, we've seen a lot more competitors come into the market, but we're seeing a lot more market restrictions, if anything else, that's affecting the commercial market, right? So noise pollution is becoming a big one. Even you and I, BJ, we spoke at one time about retirement villages, but schools, councils, they're all looking at ways of just reducing noise pollution, if anything else.
Councils are huge, aren't they?
But I think also the market's becoming a lot more aware of the benefits of battery, and especially with those that have got HAVS or carpal tunnel, right? A lot more are converting over or transitioning over to reduce that vibration so they can continually work. So I think from that point, it's really evolved in the last 2 years. And look, we're about to celebrate 10 years of Ego in Australia this year, 2014, October. But what we've seen in that last 10 years where domestic really sort of ruled the roost, whereas commercial in the last 2 to 3 years has probably, gone vertical in terms of battery acceptance.
And I think realistically for any company, any OEM, commercial, like I know it's great to obviously service that domestic field, and it's always a good place to dip your toes in.
Yeah.
But the commercial, like that's where your cream's at, right? Eh?
Yeah.
Like that's where the products are getting bigger and better, and
there's a turnover situation. Like for your domestic user, they're not going to turn over equipment every 1 to 2 years, like a commercial.
Or they're not even going to add skins.
Yeah.
You go down and get a snipper if you're you're a homeowner. Yeah. But once you get a commercial operator in place, well, it's like fuck. New backpack blowers coming out this year.
Well, we've quickly come to learn, that domestics, they're using it maybe 4 or 5 months of the year, depending on where they live. Brizzy,
definitely not
Queensland.
Brizzy.
Yeah. No, but Queensland, probably has got that extended season. Yeah. Whereas, hey, in Victoria, I've probably mowed my lawn twice in the last 6 weeks. Right, we don't have the same sort of conditions. But that's Melbourne. Yeah. But commercial, it's tools for income. So, you blokes are working, well, I don't know about you blokes, but some blokes might be working 5 days a week, 6 days a week. But we know that those tools are getting used for that entire period. So, and if that tool's not in their hand, they're not earning an income. So we've got to make sure that we're delivering product that meets market expectations and as well as delivers to the performance that you guys need, right?
Yeah.
So that's been an evolution within itself. We did release a range of plug-in backpack commercial batteries. So you're dealing with the umbilical cord, as you blokes call it, and ladies. But
got to be politically correct on here. They'll fucking get us.
Yeah, they're always lurking behind the fucking corner. They're waiting for us to slip up.
Well, we've got some great supporters out there that are female, so it's great to see.
So have we actually.
The thing is that what everyone doesn't understand is like people aren't aware of it when they're just speaking generally. Like you blokes, right. It just doesn't mean that but. Yeah. Anyway, It is what it is.
So, we had plug-in direct, and that's not for everyone. And I think, BJ, you at one stage you were talking about the comfort of backpacks. Yeah, I didn't. And especially in this condition, right?
I had the BIP and the SXT 3800.
STX 800.
There we go.
And that was the one that I think I originally had too when I was just still at the village. Yeah. I got to be honest, like, look, the leash, that's what I always call it, the leash. It obviously isn't, like you don't have the same freedom, but what I loved about it was just knowing that I just had fucking hours of battery power. That, and I don't have a system like that anymore. And it's always in the back of your head, like how hard you're revving and all sorts of things, knowing that you can run out, at a certain point.
Yeah, but if you put a 10 amp on the back of a hedger,
I can't.
If it's on your back, then it's like all day, every day, just cruising around. Yeah. But you also had the link and the adapter, so correct. You could So that was good that you brought that through.
Yeah, but again, I guess that something with the lead or the umbilical cord doesn't suit everyone, right? So depending on your application, but if you want all day runtime, you're going to get it because on our line trimmers, you're going to get up to 7 hours. And that's trigger time too, right? So that's a big day.
Yeah.
So we certainly learnt through what we did launch in the market that we needed a battery on board. And I got to say that LMCA was great, talking to blokes like you in terms of what are the CTQs. So that's how we call it, the CTQs, critical to quality.
Yeah.
What is it that you guys need? Now, guys is generic for both male and female. What is it that you guys need? Well, we want a bigger cutting swath. We want the line as close to the bottom of the
speed feed.
The speed feed as close as possible. We need 3,500 plus SPM in the head trimmer. So we got to learn all that. We want weight out. We want longer run times. We took all that information over the last 2 to 3 years, and then we were able to produce something in Australia towards the end of November last year that we believe now meets a lot of that market expectation, and the feedback has been extremely positive.
Can I just say that my event may have been the unveiling of that product to the public? Was that true?
Yeah, actually it was. Yeah, that was the first time that we'd actually released it into
That's
the wild.
super cool, eh?
Yeah, it's that's
I didn't know
huge.
that.
That's right, it was too. And I couldn't get here for that too.
Yeah, I know, and you were off jet setting.
shattered.
Yeah, where were you? You were
I think it was overseas.
at the bottom of some black beer somewhere in Ireland or something. Was
It
it?
would have been black beer somewhere.
Somewhere.
Surely.
You would have had a ball at the pit.
Oh,
The
yeah.
pit. I
Fuck,
did
there was
hear
some-
about the
there
pit
was
afterwards.
some loose
Nanky
units
with his
there.
fucking hanky.
Oh my
In the middle of the
god!
car park.
Yeah.
Lost speaking Italian or some shit.
Yeah.
Out of control.
No, but something else that you brought up just about LMCA, and something that I just think is, I mean, we all know how these groups work. There's a lot of bullshit, but there's a lot of cool stuff that happens, you know, in those groups in terms of market research. There's also tons of other, you know, awesome things that, you know, just GoFundMe and, you know, things like that happen. But
Yeah.
what you brought up about like the blade tip speed and the depth in the speed feeds and things like that, that's the golden nuggets. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like, there's other brands out there, we don't have to mention them, but there's other brands out there that would realistically, they just looked straight down their nose at any feedback given at all, right? But I think it's fantastic, and we have a couple of main brands that look at that group, and I just think it's fantastic because, you know, when you're talking about blade speed with these hedge trimmers, it's a critical point for a consumer, a commercial consumer.
Absolutely.
You know, like they would be, and especially if you have a competing product over here that has that, well, now you're in line with it, and I just think it's so good.
Again, mate.
I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm just
I
saying,
appreciate
like,
it.
It's good. You
Because
did
I'm
a lot
not-
of. It's a hard job to do to stay on all those people that are posting all over the place and like making sure that, you know, all the comments are kind of positive and then the negative ones are getting noted. And
I
because
guess-
like it's the same with Skag. Like we did a lot of stuff in that group when it first sort of, you know, when I first became an ambassador. Like I was on every post. Like,
and we do the same with Catch Pro.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, okay, what is it that people want here, and what is it that, okay, when they're cutting, what do they want over here? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, otherwise you can completely shit the bed with the product. You know what I mean?
And you're spot on, and that's what we don't want to do, not as a new brand, right? So there's been a lot of learnings off LMCA and even other pages for that matter. We tend to get a lot more interaction engagement off LMCA, and we've had a lot more positive and constructive feedback. And we've also watched other comments about other brands as well, what they're doing well and what they're not. So it's a complete learning. And look, I'm on it a lot. I reckon I spend more time on there than Jared and Anthony. It's 24/7. But I do it because it's rewarding.
I'm on there
it's
less.
enjoyable.
I'm on there less and less now, and it's actually not anything to do with the group, but I've got like 4 Facebook pages. Like my media company have these gimmick pages.
Yeah.
Like, so we've got Catch Pro, I've got my personal profile, then we've got 2 other pages, and they bring in eyeballs from everywhere. And every time I bloody open up Facebook, there's just a million notifications, and I just, honestly, like these days, unless someone's tagged me in something, I very rarely, you know, get the
it's hard. There's a
opportunity.
lot of content now on that page too. Like it probably went from, you know, recognizing everyone who's posting to now I don't recognize everyone who's posting. It's
Yeah.
there was a select group who are huge
It's in the
contributors.
algorithms.
Yeah, and now like there's a lot more people in the group. There's a lot of new faces, which is awesome. Like that's what it needs. But like me, I'm kind of more like I've taken a step back now, and I will post sporadically, but I'm not on there just like in every post like trying to help people, because there's so many people externally that are reaching out to me now as well, and that's, you know, like where do you give your time to people who like seriously need it and they've taken the time to reach out to you, or do you jump on and, you know, make a random comment on a post? It's it's a lot of work.
It's a
I would have
ton of
thought
work.
you would have handed it off to someone else by now, but that's one of the things that's good about you've kept it you. That's
Yeah, well,
it's one of those
again, I
things.
guess for me, it's become more of a commitment, and we've established a lot of relationships through there as a brand. So it is a hobby for me. It's probably one of the first things I look at in the morning before I get out of the bed.
It still is the first,
and it's one of the last things I look at. So it's almost like being out in the beers with the boys, mate. I don't want to be the first one to leave. I want to be the last one. And this is the same with LMCA. I want to know everything that's going on, because if it helps to develop our business and we can deliver more to the market to meet the expectations or exceed the expectations and perform, then it's been extremely rewarding. And what we delivered just before Christmas was smashing. It was very rewarding to see all those positive feedbacks coming back regarding the line trimmer and the size of cut, and then the hedge trimmer, great speed, good balance.
Yeah, nice.
And I really enjoy that.
You were about to say you get off on it.
I was just about to say that, but I know you boys can say that, but I'm not going to say that.
I said it for you.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, you can tell me fuck off or not, but so COVID happened, and obviously everyone just died in the ass with batteries except for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, was this like something that you'd planned for? Did you have some insider information? Because realistically, with battery equipment, when you invest in a platform, it's not wise to always move away from that platform, because the batteries are the most expensive part. And if you buy like $1,000 worth of batteries and then you move to a different platform, then it's like, what do you do with that? Like,
I just figured it out.
Did you guys just
ego created COVID?
You just fucking
We did.
seriously like
We started that. Yeah, simply because we wanted to grow our brand.
seriously, like I was thinking about it on my way here, and I'm like, geez, everything's falling into place now.
Yeah.
I followed the rabbit hole, and
The secret's out.
I got shafted the worst. I had like long COVID where I was like dumb as fuck for like 3 months.
COVID didn't even touch the side because I started a fucking dumbass. So I was just like, whatever. I had a sniffly nose.
All right, back to the program. Sorry for butting in.
Hey, great observation, because there was one year where we ran out for about 3 weeks, and it was like the world was over. But then when we come to learn just some of the battery shortages, it's like we were in a really good position.
Yep.
Let's just say we'll never run out of batteries for a long time.
Seriously.
So at the start of 2020, when all this started happening and lockdown started happening, we looked at our forecast, not just for a short term, but a longer term. And we looked at the next 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, and where we thought battery would go. It could only grow, right?
Yeah.
But at what sort of speed? So we looked at all that, and we took some significant risks, and there was some significant investment to ensure that we had the power. Doesn't matter what happens. So in early 2020, let's call it February, March, everything was doom and gloom. COVID's coming, let's shut everything down, stay home, all of that. But then around April, May, our market especially just took off. And it's like, what's going on here? People are caught home. They've got nothing to do because they're in lockdown. They can't go to restaurants. They can't go to the pub. They can't go on P&O cruises, and they can't go on a plane. So what else are they going to do? They're going to do home renovations, so they're going to need power tools. But backyards, front yards have never looked so good.
Yep.
Right? So we identified that, and we made change to our inventory forecast and investment.
Do you think that period made it easier for like at least the Australian part of like to properly evolve? Or do you think it helped, like, let's say COVID didn't happen and sales didn't go through the roof, and obviously you probably would have seen growth because you're right. It's only going to get better. It's never actually going to get worse.
Yeah.
But do you think just that huge influx of, everyone spending, do you think that propelled you guys forward in
absolutely.
any way?
Yeah, no doubt, mate. And I think...
I'm talking about just the evolution of it. Like, fuck, we need to figure out this and we need to get this going or,
Oh, look, I think there was a couple of contributing factors. But there's no doubt that whoever's dealing with battery at the time, it certainly propelled them, and that we all had enormous growth. But again, people were looking for something to do because you were told not to do this and not to do that, and this became the alternative. Absolutely, but even paint, power tools, those sort of industries went nuts. So
Bunnings must have just gone through the roof.
But
I
mate,
can only imagine.
even on a much smaller scale, obviously, Catch Pro. And I always look at that time for us because it kind of happened organically. Like I didn't know. Like I still had the contracts at the time. So but I really do look back at that period, and I was like, well, like that's when we got on the map.
Yeah.
And it helped us. Like I got a whole head full of ideas, right? But as a small business, you're pretty limited. Mm-hmm. But through that period, we were able to actually really just financially invest in some of these ideas. The other thing that I wanted to piggyback on was before when we were talking about LMCA and, market feedback from contractors, all this stuff. Does any of this get taken on board for other markets, international markets, like the American market? Like, do they look at that and think like, okay, gee, maybe these guys are onto something, or do they...
Absolutely.
Or do they look down their nose and go like, no, they're backwards?
Look, I reckon it was around 2017, 2018 when we started thinking about, the commercial market. Apparently you guys would prefer a line trimmer that spins anti-clockwise. And it's like, what? Everything that we did in domestic was spinning clockwise, right? So we got to learn that. And ironically, the owner of the business was in Australia at the time, and we were having a conference, and we were getting all the feedback from all our sales team. And we spoke about this, and it's like, righto, let's go to market. And I tell you now, within 3 months, we had a commercial line trimmer in the market because the owner of the business took that, and we produced something for the Aussie market. That then became a learning for the boys in the US and the ladies, and as well as the team in the UK. So that all started from Oz. But again, we've had a lot of feedback to R&D on Australia specifications. Yeah. And again, that's been a learning from just being in contact with the market, learning off pages. I mean, we're not there for any other reason. I mean, yeah, certainly we want to talk about our brand and grow our brand, but if anything, we want to support those who support the brand.
Exactly.
But we want to also learn to deliver and be a point of difference to our competitors as well.
Now, I don't know about, I might be naive, but if I was going to test any products, I would send them straight to Australia. Do you reckon we have the heaviest testing grounds in the world?
Yep.
Oh,
absolutely.
I thought, yeah.
So if it wasn't for the economic downturn in 2023, we had a team coming to Australia to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were going to get a phone call. We had everything sort of teed up because we want to drop people into this market to truly understand heat. So if we talk far north Queensland and as far down as Tassie about the heat differences. Yep. So it's all of that because obviously that can play a part in the battery as well. But, what is it that you guys really want? We've got some, Australia's got some product that are not necessarily in the other markets. They might be a little different, but it's about understanding the global.
Is there places in America that get as hot and humid as here?
Oh shit! There's a place in Arizona that got to 54 degrees. Yeah. Not that there's a lot of grass there.
Yeah.
But California can get pretty hot.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty warm.
And they have to use battery stuff in that section
in California. Yeah.
But you got to have a look at the noise that the California government brings up all the time about emission standards and battery and
they're saying by 2030 that they're going to stop selling petrol cars in California. But right now you can't even charge your electric car in summer because the whole power grid goes down.
That's right.
Yeah. So they're way behind. They'll never ever be able to catch up. I reckon hydrogen cars will be out before they get the power system right there. It's it's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
It's just a wild sort of testing ground, isn't it?
It is.
It's good. At least they're fucking doing it.
At the risk of sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just going to say it because I'm interested. But does Ego have any push or self-propelled mower that has like swing back blade kits? Okay.
No, not locally, not globally.
Okay, cool.
It was certainly a discussion point when I was in China.
So it is a
last
discussion
November.
point?
Oh, it's definitely been a discussion point.
blind.
And it's a unique feature in the Australian market.
Well, so that's what, I look, I only wanted to bring it up because, I think I saw like swing back blades are like banned in America. I don't think there's any truth to that.
I thought it would be a safety thing for swingbacks because, you hit a log or something like that, you can jam yourself up, but...
Yeah, I can't talk on behalf of the US, but I know there are some hesitancies around swingback.
Yeah.
They're certainly aware of it, and so are the guys in the UK or Europe. You got to bear in mind too that the more you put on a battery component, the harder it needs to work, and that's going to affect performance, runtime, all of the above. More so the runtime because you got to deliver more power, which is going to create more heat. And that's going to have an effect.
But I don't believe that that's why Ego doesn't have it or any of the other brands.
It's economies of scale.
Yeah, they just got no idea.
Yeah, look, we...
what are we, 1% of the market or something?
So with Ego, do you know that percentage? Like, do you know, like, roughly what Australia's market size is compared to... Because obviously they focus on the American market. But, like, I think, say, Hustler mowers, for example, PLP got them all the way up to 8%, which is pretty great.
Yep.
But you said Skag was like 1%.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But do you have
Sorry,
any
what
idea
percentage are you talking to here?
So Australia sales versus America?
Oh, right, okay, right. As a split? Yeah.
Do you do you know?
Yeah, I certainly won't share that on a public forum, and simply because we're
We'll ask you
now...
after
Do you
a couple
have
of
a
beers.
button on there, like a little boo button, like a boo?
Well, having a few beers later on, so who knows what can come
I actually
out.
do have a sensor button on here. I was just looking at it going, that says sensor, not sensual.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, okay, so what I can say, though, as a region, we bat above our weight. So when we look at sales per capita, we're doing very well as a region. North America is just crazy, right? They've got 2,000 plus Lowe's stores, 2,500 Home Depot stores, and there's 380 million people there. And everything's big.
Well, our whole population is in LA, so...
Well, Shanghai, right? 26 million. There's greater in Shanghai than there is in the whole of Australia. It's
crazy.
It's just when Corey Ballard, man, when he talks volumes, like, I always... Did you just do a
No, I
did you just do a queef button?
No, I laughed because as soon as you said that, I was just like, yeah.
No, but like when he talks about those volumes, like sometimes I call bullshit. And he fucking sends me the analytics from his web, like he's really into it. And it just blows my mind, like that like, you could just have a product. You could just have any old product and make a fucking $1 million off it, eh?
With a land of opportunity.
Well, exactly. But I think it comes back down to what I was saying previously. If you can develop a product that's going to meet the market expectations but actually exceed it, then, everyone's going to talk about it. And I've found in the commercial market, there's more influencers than anywhere else. And whether you mean to or not, if you've got an opinion on something, you're going to have an effect. And I've seen that through LMC, and I've seen it through other pages, and I've seen it even on Facebook.
Yeah,
just through social.
I hate it. I think it's bullshit now. Like, I used to stand by it, and I used to be like, okay, that's cool. It's just, man, we got people out there saying that something sucks and it's based on a colour.
Yeah.
But, they got no fucking idea. Like, these people, I'm not even talking about LMCA specifically. I'm just talking about social media.
Yeah.
But I mean, these fucking idiots just get on there and say anything.
Yeah.
And look, I know it goes both ways. When you have, but the problem is now that it's not starting to go both ways. Anytime someone says something positive, you're a fucking ambassador. You've been paid. This is paid content.
Yeah.
And like as one of these people who obviously I look at all of this stuff because I've got my own stuff. Like we've just got our own customers that they're really happy with something that they've bought, and then all of a sudden they're getting attacked, man, because they said it publicly.
Yeah.
And I know it happens with you guys as well.
Yeah, and it does, but we've come to learn that you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And guess what? We're trying to run a business just like you're trying to run a business, and just like you're trying to run a business, and like everyone else is trying to run a business. So, positive reviews is always good. But if there is a comment or a review that we feel is inaccurate, and that's whether it's being fed incorrectly, we're gonna defend ourselves. We're going to try and correct that opinion.
Do you get yourself locked out of Facebook like I do?
Not yet.
It's wild.
Not
Like,
yet.
I feel
I'm probably
like
a little bit
people
more diplomatic, mate.
Yeah.
But you know what? And it's just happened again recently. The mythical red ring of death on the battery.
Oh, yeah.
It does my head in. But we went so far as to developing a guide for everyone. It now lives on our website. We've shared it through several sites. If there's a fault with our battery, it's gonna flash like a Christmas tree. It's going red, green, red, green, red, green. That's generally the fault. If it's red, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it's got to do with self-protection. So our guide talks to every form of light indication: green, red, yellow, and even for our chargers. But again, we've got to take those opinions and either learn from it or try and educate.
Some people.
And I think trying to educate, like I was just thinking in my head, it would be so good if you guys just did a simple video, 60-second video, 90-second video, and just sponsored the fuck out of it and got it out to as many people as you could, because then there is a lot of people out there who see the red rings and they don't know what's going on. There's other people, so they're not the people that I'm complaining about. The people that I would be complaining about is the person that would comment and say, oh, that's that fucking thing that Ego's known for, or that's that, and they've never touched a fucking Ego.
The thing that pisses me off is there is a worldwide web of information and no one seems to know how to use it. They'll post on every public forum and fucking down a product before they even search out the answer for themselves.
And it's because...
And I know that you have the same, bro.
Yeah, but they're only looking for the answer that they want and that they already believe. So they might have some false, interpretation of something, whatever it is, and they'll constantly just be looking to have that justified, whether it's right or wrong.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? What's been really rewarding and pleasing is that this post, whilst I defended the business and what it truly means, what was rewarding was there was many in that particular post that actually corrected others. So it's not us talking as a brand. It's the users that understand the battery care
and that is
the preparation. And if anything, you can't pay for that. And that's because they've come to learn and work it all out because they have experienced it. And of course, we've either helped them in the background or they've worked it out themselves or they've looked at the guide and sorted it out. So there's no bigger endorsement than someone on that page saying, no, this is the correct way or this is how I do it. So, we can do all the videos, but from a branding point of view, it's like, are they really going to listen? Is it true?
Yeah.
It can always be questionable, and that's just, I guess, human nature. But if somebody who's been using it can endorse it and correct it, that's gold.
Yep.
Now, can I ask a question? I just went down to my local Trade Tools, Total Tools actually, and I wanted to, even though I had the unveiling at my event, I was like, just run off my feet, didn't get a chance to look at it, and I was like, oh, where's the commercial Ego stuff, guys? And they're like, oh, if you want to see it, you have to go to Toowoomba. Now, is that true, or is there more than like a couple of places where you can actually go and see physically the commercial lineup, the new one?
Okay, so we were delayed in launching it because we wanted to make sure the timing was right. We launched it around mid-November, or actually early November, and then we were given an opportunity by the business when it came to batteries. So it was relatively new, and for us to do the exercise and get it all out in the store and get core ranging and all that, it's not as easy as just delivering it. There's got to be agreements and understandings and all of that. So we were in the process of getting it out there, and then we came across this battery opportunity. And within 3 weeks, we've gone, righto, this is what we're going to do. So no sooner was product landing in store, it was getting out the store.
Oh, okay.
Because it was already on demand. Because, we were selling a $599 skin and we were giving away
your
a
redemptions,
$449 battery.
Hands down, your redemptions are off the charts. And it was like a golden shower in the face of every other every other brand that was
Remind me
selling.
never to give him a free battery.
No, it was literally like every other brand was like,
You've been reading those Vince McMahon stories.
jeez, we're going to get sued over that probably.
Oh, wow.
They're bad. Don't read them. Anyway, so like every other battery brand is like really struggling to even have batteries on the shelf. And you guys are like, yeah, buy one of these and we'll give you one of these for free. And everyone's just like, huh?
Look, and that was over a 6-week period. And wow, the numbers were huge to the point that we oversold. So, we've been out of the STX 4500 now for 3 weeks and they're just landing as we speak. So I know that there's a lot out there that have been chasing them, but they've just become available. So watch this space.
And can we get to some new gear, mate? Like what?
New gear?
I got a list of things, but I pulled some of these. I'll block them out.
I didn't do any research.
I pulled some of these off of the American website. I just want to know if they're here.
I want to be surprised by it all. So,
do you want me to just go for it? So,
no, I was giving Baz the floor.
No.
I'd be interested to see what BJ's...
So the first thing I came across was a pressure cleaner.
I'm trialling one as we speak.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Does it have good pressure?
This is better than what I'm using, mate. But you know what? It's a ripper product. And this is a proto too, by the way. Mm-hmm. Pressure is fantastic, but you've got both. You can plug your hose in or you can go an external source. So it's got a hose that you can put
just
into
have a reservoir.
bucket. Yeah. So I've got a vehicle
Oh, that's pretty good.
Maybe I should put that in my yard when it's flooding.
I've got a vehicle like yours, Ben, and I didn't have to move that pressure washer once because the lead on it was long enough and I could go all the way around it. I sprayed it, soaped it, sprayed it, soaped it, sprayed it. 45-minute run time, and I still had a bar left on both batteries. It's working off peak power.
Cool.
But great pressure, and everything is on the remote, on your trigger. So if you want to change your power load, you can do that on the trigger as opposed to going to the unit.
I think with the pressure washer, I don't get me wrong, I don't know much about pressure washers, but I think when you're talking about a new product or a battery product, rather than because they're all going to have awesome pressure these days, right? But it's more ease of use of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The way that the hoses roll up and
all
of this other stuff.
Yeah. Anti-kink hose, long hose. That's what I'm saying with large vehicles. Because it's battery. Again, you don't need to plug into electricity.
Yeah, see.
You don't need to plug into mains.
Then
you haven't got the third, your trigger lead as well. So you're dealing with 3 hoses or 3 cables, however you want to call it. This you can deal with one.
And I can imagine because I've got a petrol unit, and although it's incredibly powerful and I love it, it's fine. The noise is like all day on that thing is like
it's non-existent.
The ring in your ear.
I got a $35 home light thing. I only bought it to wash the mowers down, which people on camera can't see, but if everyone has, if you guys can see, it's not working out too well.
Right.
But this little $35 home light thing has been wicked.
Well, I bought the $99 Ozito one, and it's awesome for exactly the same reason.
Yeah, I got it when I had greenscapes to just wash them.
But I still have to plug it in. Like I still have to have a PowerPoint to plug it in, and then,
it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
The thought of so is that product. You said you got it from America List. You said that you got a prototype.
Well, I'm
assuming
assuming
that same product.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think the US have got 2. The one that we are considering for the Aussie market and the New Zealand market will be only a 2,000 psi, but it delivers 6.5 litres out of the hose, so per minute that is. So it's got substantial power.
Yeah.
But it's the run time that I was impressed with what I was doing around a big vehicle. So
nice.
And again, I wasn't tripping over leads. I wasn't getting them tangled up. It was brilliant.
Very cool. Yeah, well, that one caught my eye just because it's a big looking, like it looks like a cool unit.
Yeah.
The
Coming
next
out
one,
as a skin.
yeah. So yeah, cool.
Peak power, which means it's working off 2 batteries.
Yeah, nice.
So you got good power, good runtime.
Yeah.
It's it seems like you guys are starting to fill a different kind of like an indoor market as well, because I saw there was a wet and dry vac.
How good's this bloke?
Yeah, he's
very
better than me.
observant.
Yeah,
Better than
so
me at the moment.
the only things I've noted are the things that like tickle my fancy, like the wet and
Tickle
dry
your
vac.
fancy.
Yeah,
See,
The
the
what?
reason
The blower
why
vac?
yeah, it's
I told you not to bother me when I'm cleaning my room.
yeah, but the wet and dry vac, like so, like I'll mention them by name. Like I have all Milwaukee hand tools for doing all my servicing and things like that, and I was looking at getting a vacuum. I think you may have one.
I got one. It's
Yeah. But like that, it's just another option. It's just a cool option to have there. I also know that there's not many wet and dry vacs that are battery. That it's normally, because I've got one, I've got a shop vac.
And it's the same thing.
And it's a Ryobi one. It's like a,
You don't have to plug these things in and mess with it anymore.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, like I think with any of these battery brands, you guys included, I know you guys specialize in OPE, but the lineups, you know, I mean, realistically, the lineups, you know, the sky's the limit. Right?
now,
Spot on.
It is.
I like the fact that BJ's talking about category expansion.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you
Your
know what? I
vocabulary
mean, you've already
is
picked
just-
up on the pressure washer, the
Yep.
shop vac. Absolutely.
Yeah. I got another one that would have been so handy was the auger. So I know that there's an ice auger and there's like a soil auger, dirt auger.
Yeah.
So
An ice auger?
Yeah.
for ice fishing and
Ice fishing.
I don't know.
So could you imagine how an auger can be used in eyes, right? Especially with the way that we live outdoors and all that. So, you know, no more using a shovel for the portable toilet. You
Yeah.
can get the auger out if you wanted to and design your own long
I need to
drop.
I don't know
I need to
whether-
get a bobcat when
I
I'm
was
taking a
about to
shit.
say, I don't
Especially
know
when I'm
whether
camping.
BJ would be able to hang like a nice, consistent, clean stool in an auger hole.
Yeah, no.
Right.
It depends on the bit. Like you need a fucking
Yeah, we're going to be offering anywhere between 100 to 250 mil.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
We always end up. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. We always end up with BJ taking a shit at the end of it.
right.
I'd say,
I'm
yeah.
sorry to any of the mums out
Well,
there.
it
That
sounds like you might need an auger, mate.
Yeah, I might need an auger, especially like if my missus kicks me out.
At least
just
then
be
you
living
can
in the
just throw the
backyard.
pile of dirt back over it.
Yeah, just scoot
Never
back
existed.
on. Yeah, well,
What
I
else
mean,
have you got, Beach? Come on.
So I've got.
Do you want to touch on the auger?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think an auger is an auger. This one's battery. It's peak power again. So, you know, to be able to do either 100 up to 250 mil, it's got the power
Very
rating
cool.
for it. But we see that as a new market as well. I mean, fencing, for argument's sake. Again, screaming petrol motor around where your head is, so you got to take that in. You don't have to wear earmuffs on a day like today, humidity.
But even planting, you know,
All of that.
like
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing out the 100, mate.
you know, but like
Well,
even-
that's what
trees and-
I got one of those power planners, and fucking my wrist will never be the same.
I think I might have said it on here once, but I'll never ever forget. You know, it must have been 15 years ago when I was working with Shorey, so it might have even been longer. And we got sent out to Bow Desert. We did subcontracted for Greening Australia, and it was like we had to plant something like 20,000 trees, just tube stock. And like the first time we went out there, people were digging holes, like digging holes. And anyway, then all of a sudden, a few weeks went past. All of a sudden, they ended up. We had, you know, and then someone would just go brrr, drill the hole.
Yep.
And mate, you just bung that tube stock in, and I just can't believe like for widespread stuff like this is good stuff.
We we had to do a big planting job, and I really wish that we had something more than the little auger on the end of the drill, because that was a wrist break. You hit a rock with that, and it's game over.
Well, that's the beauty of this, mate. This has got anti-kickbait.
Well, I was going to say,
So
because not
it'll
being
feel
petrol,
the torque and a clutch will come in.
Yeah, it'll just
protect the user.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I've got a list.
And sorry, I just want to go back to the pressure
yeah.
washer. Anyone with a boat, pressure washer.
Ooh, look out.
Hello, marine industry. This is suitable for it. Not that you want to be sucking up, you know, salty water, But if you take an enclosed vessel after you take the boat out, you could actually do it at the boat ramp rather than have to wait half an hour at a boat stop to wash your boat down.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, it just seems like some of the products I don't even have a quarter of the products that are on that website, the new products. But I was just like looking at them, thinking, geez, they seem to be like just sort of going outside the bracket, like dancing outside that square a little bit.
Look out.
Something that caught my eye and it looked cool. Like, obviously, there's a few ride-on options, but the tractor.
Damn it, mention the mini bike.
Dude, I'm getting to the mini bike. It's on the list, but the tractor, like the ride-on tractor, I didn't see that at GIE in 2022. So that between now and then, like, that's a new product.
It is. So far, everything you've rattled off is heading towards a residential market. The tractor will be the same. So that's the same concept as our 3 ZTRs. It'll take up to 6 of the Ego batteries. It'll come in kit form with 4 of the 10 amps, but this is a 42-inch.
Yeah, it looks pretty mean. Like, it looks like just a regular. Like, when you think battery, you're like, crazy.
So
it's going to be competitive to what's available on the market with battery today.
And that's the key.
Sorry, I did just quickly zone out. Is this in the American market or is it special for Oz?
It was more for the European market, if anything else.
Yep.
But we've certainly jumped on it, and there'll be a bagger available as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
See, I think you need, like,
you do.
it makes all the sense in the world to have it. Just, for those, say, people, like I know in America, they have those 3/4 acre lots, and they come out and they tip it every week. And that's where it makes a lot of sense, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Euro market. Do you guys do a rear discharge for the Euro market on like the 54?
Sorry, do we do a
rear discharge? Because that's big.
I couldn't tell you for the Euro market.
Because I wasn't sure.
So there's some brands, like all the Skags and Hustles and everything.
It's a legal requirement in the UK.
No, I don't know whether it's a legal requirement.
Well, I know they are on the...
on council stuff.
I think they are on the tractor. Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, they fully modify the decks.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
For the European
that's
market.
my understanding.
It's crazy.
But just on that, I mean, since we released the E-Steer ZTR, so, drives like a car, manoeuvres like a ZTR.
That was the year I was there. There was a go-kart track and everyone was like, yeah.
Well, that's been a ripper product for us as well. And I think we've seen a lot of sort of people transition from a tractor onto a ZTR because, let's face it, I mean, that's quite intuitive. It's a steering wheel, it's a pedal. Whereas a lap bar, I mean, you guys drive it like you're in NASCARs, but for somebody new on it, it's not quite as intuitive, so that's a great option for them. So
I've always said that, I mean, the lap bar, it works and it's traditional.
Yeah.
But brands need to start tossing it up a little bit now. And obviously we loved our country clippers because of the joystick, the point and go. I love all that stuff.
I don't know if I would be as happy to have a joystick with something like the Cheetah, because the speed that I can, and the hydros are just so smooth on that. Like the speed I can turn, and I don't know if I'd get the same out of a single hand joystick.
But it's the same hydro system. It's just
the responsiveness. The one thing that like mechanics and stuff were telling me when I had the Clipper was the hydros will fight a little bit, being a single point of like steering. I didn't find it as much, but I didn't have as much experience then as well. So
it's an interesting concept, and again, it's not going to suit everyone, right? And some are going to love it, and some are not, and that's the beauty of our market is we got options.
Anyone that I've ever spoken to about it that was negative had never been on one.
Yeah,
and then we had some people in the industry that we totally respect, by the way, but they obviously brought up what BJ brought up about maybe some potential mechanical disadvantages, but a lot of it was still not really that credible.
Right.
But no, like I just like seeing new innovative stuff.
Yeah.
And like when new products come out, it's always cool to see like, have they just, have these people just grab something from there and grab something from there, and then like, everyone else is doing that, we'll just put some fucking lap bars on it. And I like to see
Yeah, look, I mean, we consider ourselves to be, one of the industry leaders when it comes to innovation. I mean, we're the first to launch 56 volt. We had 3 self-propels before our first competitor came out with their own in battery.
That bloody whippersnipper feeder thing
Yeah, power load.
That is
still
the most gangsterous thing that I've ever seen.
Well, we've just
on a
done
whippersnapper.
auto feed as well. And just on that, I mean, that auto feed is a domestic feature.
Yeah.
But look out for commercial. So we're thinking about how can we improve productivity for the guys that are using the tools for their income, right? If you can get more time, if you can get more done in less time, hey, we're all for it. And look out for what we have got coming.
Productivity sells.
And is that patented?
Oh, yeah.
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 It should be.
The power load has a lot of... Let's put it this way. It's been in the market now for... 7 years.
Yeah.
And generally, anything that's innovative is somehow they find a way to overcome the patents, but they haven't been able to do so here. It's the same as our batteries. We're still the only battery that has the arc design.
Yeah, see, I remember just thinking back to our last interview, and I remember that was like one of the heavily patented. But
heavily painted.
But that button thing, that's just so like...
what one of our objectives is really providing a solution to the challenges that are in the market. And we have a lot of how-to videos, and the number one how-to video that stands well above everything else is how do I wind my line?
Yeah.
Well, now you just put it in and press the button, job done, and it's done within 8 seconds, as opposed to put it in, rewind it, all of that sort of stuff.
Are there people that still fuck it up?
It's pretty hard to get it wrong. It's really hard because you don't have to line up any lines either.
Yeah.
Just stick the cord in, do it even, and push the button.
Now,
what else you got, Paige?
So he brought it up earlier, but I want to know, what's the weight limit on the mini bike before we talk about it? Because I'm just really fragile at the moment.
He just wants to know if he can take his kids with him on the mini bike.
I just want to know if I could get on the fucking mini bike. There's so many opportunities that I miss out on because I'm... Well, we'll say
and it looks cool, right?
extra large. And
Can you actually just show that to the camera?
Sick.
I don't know how many people watch us these days on YouTube.
It's a spec sheet that we have, but all you got to do is Google it. It was there at Equip.
Just use your own fucking brain and Google it, everyone.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you'll see lots of images. It's all over. So let's just say that when I was in China early November last year, I travelled with a guy that's about your size, and he was able to ride it. Not that you could see the bike, but he was still able to ride it. But let's put it this way. It's not classed as a monkey bike because it's higher than the restrictions that come with a monkey bike. So we're going to be classing it as a recreational mini bike. But it's got a top speed of 45 Ks. That's in sports mode. That'll do a roughly runtime of 22 kilometres, and that's dealing with 2 by 7.5 amp hours. It does have provision for a third battery. So if you happen to be too far and you run out of juice, you've got a fully charged battery to change it over to get you back.
Can I put my link on and fucking plug it in and away we go? There's a fourth option there.
It probably won't work in terms of the concept. I almost killed myself on it in China. It's like anything electric, it's got an enormous takeoff, right?
Yeah, okay.
It's quick, very quick. So, but top speed of 45. But again, have a look at it. It's a ripper. I can't wait for it to get here.
He's avoiding the weight rating.
The weight rating, I don't.
Is it just a
I wish we had
suggestion?
the Google machine right here.
It's just a suggestion. It's not a. We suggest your 45 Ks an hour will drop down to about 12, but you can do it.
It might affect runtime too.
Yeah.
It's under load. You might get a flashing orange battery
runtime
because it's
as
under
well.
load. So.
Hey, might I add, BJ, you look like you've been working on yourself. You look
Mate,
really good, mate.
He's looking like an athlete every day.
I know. It's crazy. I'll put me athletic shoes on later and we'll go for a jog.
Look, let's face it. You're never gonna be a skinny person.
I know.
And I'm not talking about being fat. Look at the size of this dude's bones. Look at the size of his
Big bones.
You should see the
You know what I
important
mean?
one.
But like
It's small. It's terrible.
Got anything else there? But
his leg is the same size as my body.
It's ridiculous.
He's a big unit.
My poor kids are just like, what is this thing that lives in my house? No, look, I've got the 22-inch aluminium deck. I know that you spoke to Luke about that. That's a really exciting piece of equipment that's coming through. Did that just get released a couple of days ago? Am I wrong?
in
Australia?
no,
Did that get released in America a couple of days ago?
I haven't seen any official launch yet, no, but it shouldn't be too far in the US, I wouldn't have thought.
Cool. Sweet. All right. Well, maybe I saw someone testing it or just a little bit of
possibly.
chatter.
I personally haven't seen it, mate, no.
Maybe I know some people you
but-
don't.
Yeah, we'll be like
Maybe I
kids.
just made it all up.
Well, I mean, hey, Dr. Google, right? I mean, YouTube, Google.
Anything's real
Everything's
if I can get
global
people
now.
to believe it.
But I mean, it's still the best way to build anticipation, by having people leaking this stuff.
Yeah, we have a strategy for it,
Yeah.
and I'll touch on
Tell
the
me
commercial
later. Tell me
market.
later while we're at dinner.
Yeah,
I'll borrow the strategy.
No, I've got the backpack blower here because that is something that I'm actually interested in,
Yeah.
and the solar panel.
Yep.
Now that solar panel, is that something that you've built specifically for people that want to be contractors or they go, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I can't tell you a lot about it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it in China last year, but it's certainly part of our product road. But I can't tell you a lot of that.
Oh, that's all right.
Only because I don't know.
I'm not even joking. I've got the things that I use. Obviously you've got the whippersnipper. That's the 4500.
Yeah.
The pole saws. So they're like I got to see them at 22 GIE. They weren't all concepts. They were actually ready to rock and roll, weren't they?
They were fair income tools,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Can I butt in? Do you say there's
You're
a
not
new
fucking
whippersnipper?
don't you look at my
No,
notes.
you already said it.
Yeah. So the new whippersnipper is
Okay.
yeah.
So, Baz, what's different with this new whippersnipper?
Yep. So
That-
it's battery on board.
Yep.
So we've gone from a 38 cutting swath to a 45. We've actually improved the trimmer head. Again.
So just quickly for everyone, when you say we've improved the cutting,
Yep.
are we talking about the guard?
Well, the guard we've actually made smaller, but we've gone from a 38 centimetre cut to a 45 centimetre.
Yeah. So is that like a higher amp switch or something that?
Well, I mean, it's
protect the motor?
it's a two-speed selector.
Yep.
It's all carbon fibre, but you're getting more power behind this now. So we've actually thrown a bigger motor in it. It's just a lot more durable, but it now meets more of the market of battery on board than anything else. But overall, it's a better unit. It's
when you can compare like how much you can cut now, how much you can have your line out. Is that relative or does it exceed what you can do with petrol? And I'm talking standard. When it comes out.
yeah.
of the-
Well, in terms of when you're bumping it, or
No, like if you
As in it's-
if you just go to it, because like a lot of people will say, I'm not buying that battery thing because you can only have your line this long before it cuts out, rah rah rah. And before it was that like there was something in the motor to protect it. Right. If you're overloading it, obviously that's been increased. But is that relative to what is standard on a petrol machine? Like off the shelf?
Yeah, well, I guess, products are designed around the cutting size, right? So, I guess the one that you were using, Beej, was a 38 centimetres. So anything beyond that is going to put additional torque on the motor and on the unit. So, but we've been able to really ramp this up to increase it from a 38 to a 45 centimetre. So even, there's a lot of guys we know that, should I say it, don't use guards. But if you exceed what the product has been designed for, you've got to expect some form of impact on the product, whether it happens immediately, later down the track, but it's not designed for that. That's why R&D works so hard to deliver something that is going to perform within its limits. So I don't know if that answered the question, mate.
I didn't know. Like I know I cooked my question. So, but no, it's just that I just wanted to because I'm amazed at those little things. Same with the cutting the top speed of the hedger blades and all. Like they're the little things that I don't know whether a lot of other brands where they look at something so small and like, okay, is that the difference between a contractor walking in and feeling comfortable with his product or not, And those things, those things are more important than your balance and all that other stuff. And I truly believe that. And anyway, so that's just what I think is really cool.
Look, I think let's talk about why we went from 38 centimetres to 45 centimetres. And we took that information back to China, and it's like a lot of the guys don't use cards because they want a bigger cut. So, 7 centimetres on a line trimmer for only our generation 2 is a big move. Because
you give me 7 centimetres and I'll fucking run with it.
But we've had to design the unit to cater for that 45 and not for the 38. So, that's how R&D works. It's got to be designed based. Sorry,
trial and error. That's
well, it is absolutely so.
And obviously you've seen what the previous model did, and you've put everything in place to make sure this one is above and beyond it.
I think what I was really trying to get at is this, and even with this R&D side, is that I think sometimes when brands look at bringing out a new model, they kind of go back to the drawing board and they're like, oh, how can we do this,
reinvent the wheel?
But they don't really, they're not really looking at the things that matter. And the reason why I'm saying that is this whole battery space has really become very saturated in the last couple of years. And we've seen all of these brands come out with exactly the same thing. No one else has really messed with that stuff yet. And it kind of, that's the answer to the question. Is that
I think it's a risk and reward thing. If you're going to take a risk and bring something completely different to the market, not knowing how it's going to be taken, I think that's a big gamble. But if you bring something,
there's a big difference between getting feedback and acting on it and actually acknowledging, okay, this is what people want, and people saying like, oh, we're not going to do that. Just fucking buy it anyway.
Well, you know what? We launched in the US first, and in the US we've got to give them credit that they know how to mow lawns, and that they generally, it's minimum of 30 mil, and most mowers are 38 mil minimum height of cut. We actually modified everything, and that was a cost to our business. We were the second region in the world to launch Ego, but we had to launch it at a minimum of 25. Anything below that on generation 1 was going to have a significant effect to runtime. So we've got to be conscious about a balance of what we offer and what we deliver. So whilst we try and provide a solution to the challenge, we've still got to meet the market expectations. So that's a fine line.
Yeah, look, there's always a ton of, other variables that any business has to look at.
Absolutely. But we'll continue to challenge ourselves, mate. And if the market says we want a 50 centimetre, we want a 60, well, can we deliver it? But if we're going to deliver it, we're not going to make any compromises along the way.
Yeah.
We believe we've been able to establish a brand in the short term that is premium quality. And look, not everyone's going to agree with that because maybe they have experienced a negative, and that's fine. Unfortunately, that happens with any brand, any product.
Nothing's perfect.
Well, correct. So, but as long as we try to improve that and deliver to meet some of those requests, then...
as long as you're not in denial when someone's like, oh, me battery's all caught on fire, one after another. You're like, yeah, fuck off. And then all of a sudden, like, half the world's on fire.
What else have we got in terms of new gear? Anything else?
Oh,
I've got a stack.
That's tea.
Yeah, well, buddy.
Mate, there's something like, is there 2 chainsaws, 3 new pole hedges?
Well, we do have a new chainsaw. So we got 2 chainsaws coming out. We've got a domestic unit, 20-inch. Yeah, you're on it.
2 new chainsaws.
So the 20-inch, that's actually due out in the next month.
Benny's horse has got about 20 inches.
25.
We just went and saw it before.
Is it as aggressive as this, though? 25 metres per second.
It's a biter.
I
bought 2 horses.
Right.
Yeah, and one of them's a real bastard.
It's named Ben.
He's the cool one.
Oh, Ben's the cool one.
I didn't name him that. They're rescue horses.
What
and
a
his
prick,
name was Benny. That's why we got him.
And what's the other one?
Bluey. He's the bastard one. Yeah.
Right. He's the bastard one.
But I tell you, man, those horses, they're powerful, man.
Yeah.
Like they just.
Mate,
one of them just. Anyway, I got bucked off one of them, eh?
It's been a weird day. I came up. I was with Ben. He's like, "Do you want to come see me horse?" He's like, "Yeah, sweet as." We went for a drive. Saw his horses. One's taking a piss. Come back here, showing me where like the water came in and flooding. Another horse is taking a piss. Then another horse starts taking a piss right next to that horse. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, exactly.
That's why you're flooding, mate.
The ground is never not soft.
Yeah.
All right, new gear.
Well, the second chainsaw you were talking about is the commercial one. So true commercial, going to come with a 2-year warranty. That's still 20-inch, but that's now going to have a massive 30 metres per second chain speed. Now, when I was in China, as we do, we try the stuff. They had a big 400mm log, quite seasoned. And, of course, being Aussie, I leant on it and I was trying to kill it. And, of course, the Chinese have ripped into me. It's like, get off it. That's not how you treat it. Let the blade do the work. It's like, no. This is what the Aussies do. They try and kill it and they'll try and lean on it. And I was doing it for the purpose of when can I kill it? And I couldn't stop it.
It just wouldn't bog it down.
It wouldn't bog down. Whereas the 20-inch domestic model, it did at 25 metres per second. But I just could not stop it. This thing is a beast.
Yeah, nice.
So that's true commercial. But in the domestic side, you know, we've got a blower vac coming out. We've improved our inverter too from a 150 watt to a 180 watt pure sine this time. So
Sorry to butt in, mate. Going back to the chainsaws, do you guys have like one of the little one-hander
Not
friendship
yet.
ones? Yeah.
yeah, it'd be
It's a
and
friendship
look,
saw, that one.
It is.
Yeah,
Because they're pretty cool, I got to admit. I don't have one. I've never even actually used one, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I got a fireplace here, and all of a sudden I cut heaps of wood. And, yeah, you know, like just having...
They'd be good for like
only-
Tinder and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about... No, but like I remember when we used to do garden cleanups, and those saws with one hand, like, they're just good, like, if you're trimming stuff where you kind of need to move stuff out of the way and, you know, trim that there or, you know,
Like
stuff
bamboo. That'd be good because you could and then go
We're-
through. Yeah, fuck
We've got
bamboo.
a top handle in our range, which is more for the arborists of the world, right?
Yeah.
We are looking at another smaller top handle, but if you're talking like the single hand that takes a 12 volt, the 56 volt is probably going to outdo that in terms of balance and weight. So that's our challenge
Yeah,
when
I
it
guess
comes to those
that-
sort of products. So
I guess I didn't think
but
of that.
the commercial chainsaw, yeah, what a ripper product.
So you've got the new snipper. I've noticed there's a few edges
Yeah.
as well. You've got a bench shaft and a straight shaft.
We've only
edger.
launched the straight in Oz. We're
Okay.
not launching the bent.
Okay, cool.
Not at this
that's
stage anyway.
That's strange too because no one brings in a bench shaft here in Australia. No one brings in a dedicated
Who gives a fuck?
edger.
If the option's not there, I guess you're not going to use
well,
it,
that's
right?
exactly right. Like I see people with these atom edges and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, wouldn't you just snap on a? I don't do that kind of work.
Wait,
so
what were you meant when you were saying bench shaft? You mean a bench shaft?
it's
with
not
your-
it's like an offset
Yeah, it's an
edger.
offset.
It's like an offset edger.
Oh,
You know,
I
like
want to withdraw my statement.
you
then.
fucking piece of shit.
I thought you were talking about a bib. Yeah, queef.
Shit the bed. Yeah. So no edger.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed how popular the Atom style is? Do you have a battery one coming?
No.
Okay.
No, but I
Because they don't do
noticed
them
that.
anywhere else, eh?
Yeah, no. I mean, I've seen Adam had brought out the battery version as well, so and that's quite
They do
unique.
have one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's
So-
it's blue.
But the edger, yeah, it is
it's
blue.
blue.
Yeah,
It's like bush range blue too.
Yeah.
Dogs.
I thought you were going to go with these ones. Round of applause.
yeah.
Basil jinx us.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the dedicated straight shaft is our first, and that's taken off fairly well. I mean,
Yeah.
outside of the STX 4500, I would say our second best selling would have been the Edger, which was a bit of a surprise to us actually.
Well, it's a surprise that no one else has a dedicated edger because it has become such a like the Atom is such a popular thing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's
Well, that's
but it's
why
a
we did it too.
bulky unit. Like it is, you know, lots of people love them, and I totally get it because they've had their place. But it is a bulky unit, and when you're running on a rig like, say, mine, for instance, I don't know where the fuck I'd put it.
But you know how many people have been requesting that we have like an equipment defender style racking
Yep.
for the Atom? And, you know, like a couple of people reach out and it's like, it's still not really worth it, rah, rah. But, man, you get people like screaming and, you know, like...
It's a unique unit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's funny, when I went back to the guys in Florida about the equipment defender, they're just like, what the fuck is that?
They have no idea because it's an Aussie product.
I was just like,
We've got some unique product, mate.
I didn't even go any further with it. I was just like, just whatever.
Yeah, I know. Like Dale Pakenham, they were using Adams, but I think they've switched over too now to
Stick
the
edges.
stick edges. I think they're the way of the future.
I'm not gonna lie, I never used a stick edger in 20 years until the last year of my career, and I really enjoyed it on some cruisy jobs that I had, but I do think and look, I was doing all really well maintained stuff. The market sort of research or feedback that I got was a lot of people have them where they've just got to cut in new stuff and then they maintain it with a whippersnip.
Right. Yeah.
That was the feedback that I got. Or a mega premium service, like I'd say, no diss to everyone on the east side, but a lot of people on the west seem to be running dedicated units like that on all of their premium jobs because it just gives you that.
Well, I guess back to your point, there's not a lot of dedicated edges out there. So, but knowing the sales that we had on the multi-tool, I mean, that was enough to motivate us to do that. So, and that's a good segue through to the multi-tool. We're getting a lot of calls on the new version that we have delayed into the market. That's not far off, but that's that's been a huge improvement, and everything's now going towards carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And
Multi-tools, man, they're staple items these days.
That's a good market tester, though, a multi-tool.
And, mate, it's the best way for new people to dip their toes in because they can pick up that skin and they can just add the shit.
It'd be perfect if you brought that out first. Then you could have sort of looked at the attachments that you were selling, and you could be like, okay, well, that's actually doing a lot better than we thought it would.
That was the first Ego product. Like I got.
It's
the original,
still going.
I got the original multi-tool.
yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it's still going. I think Russell's got it, but yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff ended up at the village.
It's good volume. It's insane. Just the amount of power heads and the different types of attachments and the kits, and we're about to update all of that with the new model coming out.
May I ask? So the original power heads, that if you have an original power head and you guys are updating, let's say the hedge trimmer attachment, is it all adaptable?
You betcha.
Yes.
So absolutely.
I
it's
put
all
him on the
adaptable.
spot there, everyone, by the way. I put him on the spot there and
you
I
did.
could see the confidence in his eyes.
But what we've actually done is we've now going to be bringing out the power load attachment. Now, the power load attachment, sorry to bury you, but the power load attachment is the only one that won't fit on the old head. The reason being
because
is...
it has doesn't it have something to do with the spline?
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
well, I can understand that.
But the power, I mean, it will still work, but you just won't power load. So you'll have to ratchet or change the trimmer head. But the power load attachment will fit the new power head, but everything else is going to be interchangeable, even with what we're going to be doing at the end of the year with upgrades.
And you got the increased tip speed on this hedger attachment?
On the hedger
attachment?
There will be on one that's coming out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No,
absolutely.
That's what we're
absolutely.
interested in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Again, it's about improving it, mate. Otherwise, it's pointless bringing
That's
it
it. You've mentioned it, hedges. So I saw 3 pole hedges. So an extension, just a regular, normal
Short
length
pole.
one, and then a shorty.
Yeah.
Now I noticed that shorty is not an articulating hedge trimmer.
Correct.
Now is that?
I got beef with that.
Yeah, I think that would have been a weapon if it was an articulating one. I know that it is very short, very compact, and it's cool. But
correct me if I'm wrong. Apparently, that was the feedback that you got, that it didn't want to be articulated.
Yeah. So you're right. Again, we've produced these based on feedback. So it's like I want that short pole, fixed head for swooping, right? So the longer one, I want that for not only swooping, but also for the top edge so I can articulate it. We decided not to bring the one in between. We thought that, especially when
I agree.
Well, when we started talking retails, it was negligible. So it was almost like you're going to cannibalise one over the other.
Yeah.
But the fixed head, that was based on market feedback. But now that we got it in the market, we've already fed back to R&D that, hey, we've got to consider an articulating head because it seems to be 2 different markets.
Well,
I
was just in my mind.
You talk first, Beach.
In my mind, I was just going to circumcise myself trying to do something that I shouldn't have been trying to do with that machine.
Is that why you want the articulating
Well,
head?
because I know that if I'm doing like a teacup shape,
Right.
that I'm going to, instead of going and getting a hand hedger, if I'm in a tight space with tight access, I'm going to tip that up and I'm going to walk around it, and I'll potentially do myself a mischief and cut off one of the only, viable inches of dick I have. And
I don't even know.
It's all over Red Rover.
I'm surprised that you're not circumcised yet with all the things.
I almost did it to myself. Like I almost cut my penis and balls off.
And this will do it, mate. It can take.
Well, this was with an angle grinder. So yeah,
that's even more aggressive.
But, okay, so
it wouldn't have bogged down on that. That's for sure.
It's a good point, but again, we've already taken this back to R&D,
awesome.
and we've only been in the market for when we took it back, less than 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So because the only way that I can really explain it is, number one, if it is articulating, you're still servicing the people that don't want it to articulate, because you could just leave it in that position.
Yeah.
So, but the second thing that, because I got this tool, Shane gave me one, and brilliant tool, but for me I was like, why doesn't this articulate? Anyway, Shane told me, he said, mate, this is the market feedback that we got. Anyways, what I was trying to explain to him is that with a fixed unit that doesn't articulate, anything above nipple height is going to be an extra chore, because you have to support that up there. You have to do these ones. Whereas if it can articulate, all of a sudden you can lock yourself in and you can do a certain amount.
Customise it to comfort, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you just have to work smarter these days. Like even I did some work out there and I was like, I'm fucking hammered after this. So, look, it's great to know that there could be an option coming out. And
awesome.
I think it's going to be, mate, it's going to be hands down. Like, I think.
Well, remember what we used to do with Shindaiwa? We used to get this tiny little bloody, 6 inches? It's like a shorty, like an extension, and you'd plug it into your multi-tool, and then you'd plug it into your actual trimmer head. It was like a short shaft. Yeah, they came out with, I believe, the first ever short range pole hedges, and the reason why, like, we just moved straight to them. But then, what was it that we used to do with them? They brought out a small, maybe 6 to 8 inch. It's like an adapter, so you'd take your head off,
take the pole head,
and then it'd still slip in like a multi-tool, and then you would have just a normal head. But it was so unbalanced because it was petrol. Right. You had this tiny little space, and
back heavy.
Really back heavy.
Yeah. Look, I can see the people that are in that market, because I've been, I discuss things with other brands, but. I think all you guys that are doing, like the detailed buxus. Yeah. Like those really formal hedges, like I can see, if something's knee high, it's going to really benefit them to be able to articulate. Yep. And you don't have the same challenge. Like, mate, you don't have the same challenges. Like if you try and do that with petrol units, you've got the tanks going upside down, doing all sorts of things.
You should get a quick flip grip on those.
Quick flip grip.
Quick flip grip.
Right.
So like you press a button and you just turn it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to turn the machine. You just
and then obviously you get that on hedge trimmers now, right?
You have it on the back end. Yeah, but on the head, click. Fucking patent this right now, Ben.
Look out.
Fucking write it down.
I'd be
my idea.
That's it.
Honestly, I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, we could just like click. Like, I know it's another moving part. Could be another thing that you have to replace eventually. But just thinking, like, instead of having to twist your wrists and stuff, you just sort of click, and away you go.
Yeah, shit.
Look at this fucking guy. Tick.
I think we got like 600 or 700 people listening to us right now as well that are thinking the same thing. Like,
hey, but you know
just can't see BJ's actions over here with his wrist.
Click.
There seems to be experience in that, but
mate, he does have experience. Okay, next product.
So I'm going to leave the mower to last.
Okay.
All right. The reason being is I'm sure that we've already had a lot of demand on it, but let's talk about charging solutions.
Yes.
So I guess one of the anxieties within the commercial market is how do I keep my batteries charged all day, every day? And of course, a lot of commercial guys have gone and invested in, the solar panels, the inverters, the deep cycle batteries, the Anderson plugs, and power management, and that can cost a good $5,000 to do, right? This year, we're going to have a couple of charging solutions in both mobile and as well as stationary. So let's talk mobile and stationary, and especially a lot of commercial people have got 15, 20 batteries. That's a big effort at the end of the day to bring out 15, 20 chargers and put on 15, 20 separate batteries. We're going to have a docking system. It's going to be...
Can you say that again?
Docking.
I love how Baz is a good sport on here.
Yeah. Docking system. So it's going to be working off a 1600 watt charger. But you'll be able to have... So a docking station or a port is it'll take 3 batteries, and you can have 20 of those lined up in a row. So a daisy chain effect. It's going to be sequential charging. So at the end of the day, if that's up in your shed, you can put all your batteries on. It's all on one charger, sequential. So each time it hits a battery, it's going to understand its power level, charge it, go to the next, charge it, and so forth.
Wow.
This will charge up to 72 batteries overnight. So charging all within that 10-hour period. And that's sort of based on 2.5. So depending on your amp hour, and you don't have to sort of group them in amp hour, you can just chuck them on. And again, sequential charging will do that.
So if someone had, say 45 amps, that would be relative.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look,
I'd say councils would have just gotten a hard on if they're listening.
You absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's pretty...
Sunshine Coast announced that their 2025, their zero, what is it?
Emissions.
Net zero emissions. Yeah. So,
the charge time on all that, it's just like a standard charger anyway.
Yeah.
So, your 5 amp is still going to charge up in 30 minutes. Your 7.5 still going to charge up in 45. But again, if everything's, that's if it's zero flat. But if the first battery is 60%, it's going to hit that 40. If the next one's 30%, it's going to give it that 70. And of course, it's going to top them all up. So, but that's a system that can either go in the back of the van or at home or in a workshop of that nature. But the game changer, we believe, is going to be DC to DC. Now, what we've seen in the market is that a lot of guys like using, and again, guys refers to both male and female, just want to clarify that.
We can't keep going to it.
You got to be safe.
Again, we see that a lot of them are using 5 amps, especially for hedging, right? But there's some out there that like using 7.5s. So we're going to have a power hub with a 40 amp hour lithium phosphate battery. So this will take 2 hours to charge up overnight. But that becomes your DC to DC charging. So you can put in 2 5 amp hour standard Ego batteries, and that'll charge both of them up in 30 minutes. So this power hub will charge up 14 by 5 amp hour batteries on a daily basis.
Oh, true.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how long did you say?
5 amp hour batteries.
So you obviously charge this thing up first, did you say?
Yeah, correct. So
how
you charge up the 40 amp overnight. So you're taking one battery in.
Yeah.
Or you can leave all your other batteries in the trailer, in the truck, whatever it might be. Just charge up that 40 amp. It fits into a power hub that you simply pick up, and then it's a 2 battery charging base.
Is there, what kind of weight are we talking with this?
Yeah, good question. So the 40 amp, I haven't got that off the top. I think that's around 7 kg.
Oh, so it's well and truly doable.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I was thinking I'd be hey, Misso, come out here and help me get this fucking battery in the back of the truck.
I'll withdraw that comment because we haven't got the final specs on it as yet. But obviously, when it comes to,
but it's doable, right?
You've got it in a power hub, so carrying it around
it's
a full
almost
like a roll cage on it as well. So if it is in the back of the truck and it gets thrown around, it's going to be protected as well.
Do you have any sort of rough pricing for any of this, or is this not revealed yet?
I do, but I can't share it at the moment.
Okay,
until we officially launch. So, charging solutions throughout the whole...
I just know that that's going to look. Well, that stuff there sounds bloody fantastic.
I'm going to show you guys this, but that's what it looks like, right?
Yep.
So
nice.
You got your 40 amp. Your 40 lithium phosphate. You got your 2 standard batteries. That's an overhead view. So, and you're charging off a 1600 watt.
Yeah.
It honestly looks like something that powers a spaceship.
It'd go close. Oh, and by
I
the
was
way,
going to say
they're
it
also
looks like
stackable
something
too.
that would play music.
Oh, they're stackable.
They're stackable. So if
So
you
you can have more than
if you
one.
want two of them, correct.
Yeah.
So then you can go from 14 to 28 5 amp hours.
So
that's
stackable,
true.
are they lockable? Do they interlock to each
Yeah,
other?
they do, actually.
Oh, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I knew. Maybe I should do R&D.
So this is pretty cool, eh? Like,
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
a really
talking
cool
about, you know, one of the biggest things that any hater will say is like,
How do you charge on the run? Or do you really plug into other people's power? It's like, yeah, they can afford the 5 cents.
I find that I think we might have had
It's a mixed
We
bag.
might have had one person at the village once that said like, "Wait, what are you doing?" I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah. I mean, if you ask and they say yes, then it's fine.
No, fuck
But
that.
to judge
I'm
someone,
not asking. I didn't ask. I just plugged it in.
mate, I get enough flack for drinking out of someone's hose.
Well,
what are you fucking doing there?
I filled
Like,
up. Sorry,
come on.
Baz, I know we're going on a bloody rant. When we were spraying the village one day, I was just sitting down, you know, exhausted and everything. I heard this, "Oi, what are you doing?" And it was someone just like in a window right above me. And I'm like, filling up the spray pack. And he's like, "Get out of here. Don't use my water." And I was like, "Get fucked."
It's not like the
it's expensive
smacky,
commodity.
the
Right?
Bloody
smacky
hell.
that was down the end. He walked up the side of my house and he was like hosing himself, having a shower. And I was just like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm having a fucking drink." She's like, "Get out of here." And he's like, "Are you fucking filming me?" She's like, "Of course I am. There's cameras everywhere." Oh, nothing like a good
All right,
smacky.
what's next?
Telescopic pole saw.
Yes.
Carbon fibre, 10-inch, equivalent to 25 cc, 40% lighter than our current telescopic pole saw, comparable on the market, 20 metres per second, 3.8 metre reach, but with an extension, 5.2 metre reach.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very good.
I wouldn't
So-
even be able to hang off the back of that.
And looks good. I mean, it's part of the carbon fibre family. So, but let's talk because I know we're getting close to time. But let's talk blowers. So, do you guys recall what our most powerful blower, what the push force
Was
is
it
on that?
1300?
Spot on, 1300 cubes per
On
hour.
fire today.
It's nice to know that now Ego has 5,000 different types of hand blowers. You guys have a shitload of hand blowers.
Well, we're actually we are reducing because of how we have generational improvement. So here you go, 1,700 cubic meters. Per hour.
Damn.
I used this bad boy when I was in China, and I tell you what, my concern was it's going to create user fatigue because this thing has
Pulls you, yeah.
big kickback. But
Is it-
you
can
guys
you
can
feather
see
it?
the image. It's got a D
Oh,
handle.
it's got a D handle on it.
Wow.
And the nozzle is shorter.
We need to put a bloody whip gripper on there.
Looks like, yeah. Oh
Correct.
my god. Yes.
It's also got a light on it. And
that's
it's
cool.
LED display. So we've really tripped this up. But 1,700 cubes, and this is a true commercial blower. So we'll come with a 2-year warranty as well. So battery on board.
oh man.
So let's get to
well,
the
maybe I
Just
won't
quickly,
even
does it
need
have
to.
like your turbo and all of that stuff?
Yeah, all the
Yep.
standard features you'd find on
And
an Ego
what
blower.
BJ was saying, obviously they've got, what do you call it? You said
Like a feather, but it's got like a
Variable speed.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's what
Sorry,
it
I
is.
just
Variable
had
speed
a-
in the
had a
trigger.
brain
Absolutely.
fart.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll have the turn on dial. You'll have the variable speed. It's got all the bells and whistles you'd come to find on a blower, Ego blower. All
Yeah.
right. So the Beast, the new commercial mower. Since it was shown out at Equip, again, anything on YouTube, Google, it's instant global. We've had significant demand on it. We don't consider ourselves to be a true commercial brand just yet, but certainly once we get the mower in, we'll have a significant offering. So, but it's what's beyond that. So, when we start talking 0 turns, stand-ons, 30 inches, 25s, all of the above. But this year, and not that far away, we're going to be launching a 22-inch aluminium deck. Now, again, we've taken this back to our R&D, and it's like 38 mil is not going to cut it like they're doing in the US. So this will have a 20 mil minimum height of cut.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's what we call peak power. So again, operating off 2 batteries, giving it the power. But listen to this, it's torque. So our standard select cut is a 9.5 Newton metre. Our new XP was 11.3, and already the market's saying it's great power. This bad boy is going to have 17.5 Newton meters worth of
That's
torque, which makes it the most powerful mower on the market in the world. Doesn't matter what runs it. It is enormous torque, and that's the way they've launched it in the US.
So have you got like a patented motor system in this? Like it's yours? No one else can?
There's a ton of patents behind it, mate.
Yeah.
But we've also now gone IPX5 water rated, which means it's
just leave it out.
Well, pretty well. But I mean, all our products, all our new commercial is IPX5, but anything else is IPX4.
Yeah.
Apart from
so that older gen stuff.
4. So it's
It
splash
was all,
proof.
yeah, it was.
That was the stuff that Dirt Monkey was just running a hose through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done the same thing to test it out for longevity.
Yeah.
But anything 5 means it can be pressurized, right? So this will be. Not that we encourage to stick the hose underneath or pressure gun. So we're going to have it in both skin and as well as kit. So it'll come with 2 by 12 amp hours and as well as the turbo as well. So 85 litre bag. It's we can't wait.
Can we talk physical height adjustments?
Yep.
So is it just one arm?
It's actually front and back.
Oh, okay, front back. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
No offense, BJ.
Mate,
I'm just saying, it's not too bad.
I know.
It's just
Yeah.
you know, like some with this stuff. Obviously, is this one for the Australian market or is this one going?
Well,
to
this
also-
is a global unit,
Okay,
but we've
yeah.
modified it for the
And
Australian market.
you guys have done testing here?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
We're waiting for it to arrive.
the front and back. the front and
Wink,
back.
wink. Right.
I still don't know that I fully understand like the front and like why.
So it's 2 height adjusters instead of 4.
It's 2 instead of 4.
Yeah,
So
so you still get
different
the same
terrain.
result. So with the 4 height adjuster, I know a lot of people diss the 4 height adjusters, but
It's whack beach.
dude, when you're actually using it in different situations, it's fantastic to drop or lift the front. Like no doubt. Like when we're cutting a shit lawn, you lift the front up and your blades will just hit it and it won't. Like you'll probably have to do 2 passes on a nice high lawn.
You will have to.
But but like it's better to catch it than like have to clear the fucking deck every time. And it's.
I'm
it's
only
just one of those
talking
things, like-
about having to do 4 things instead of 1.
Oh,
That's
okay.
all I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you got to do 2
Yeah,
things.
so
instead
what
of
I'm-
4.
There's some
Yeah.
pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And the way
What are the
it was
pros?
explained to us is exactly how BJ's
Yeah.
is describing it. It depends on the terrain, but you know what? If you're maintaining good lawn, then you're set and forget.
I'm not
you got-
criticising
you
this
got-
one.
you got
I'm
more than
criticising
enough.
the four. Like adjusting each wheel is time consuming, and I think unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck.
But
So there's a lot happening in our
Oh,
world.
that's awesome. Is there anything? So are you going back to GIE this year?
Probably not this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
not this year. Oh, well,
Yeah,
never mind.
we'll probably be doing more travelling locally as
Okay.
opposed to internationally.
Well-
there's a bit going on in our world in what we have planned throughout the year. So-
Well, I'll be in your world. So we are having events this year. Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. I've already mentioned them to you. Prospectus will come out soon to everyone who wants to be involved. And yeah, we'd love to have you along again. It was awesome. You guys have a really good setup.
we'll be there, mate. No problem.
Sweet.
and
yeah.
are you going to announce that you're going to?
No, not yet.
Fucking
You
hell.
piece of shit.
I can't do anything right on this show.
God, what is this?
Are you letting secrets out?
We got to talk more.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the thing. Like, this is why podcasting for us is becoming difficult because we both are
We used to talk all the time.
We used to talk all the time, like once, maybe twice a day if we were chill.
maybe once.
Yeah, once a day. But now it's like, hey man, how you doing? Oh fucking, I'm just I just got to go. I got to take this call, and it's just I'm mowing like 30 something hours a week.
We've
He's-
been watching your market. Your market has just gone insane.
Queensland.
Yeah,
is
wow.
absolutely banging.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we do have to go. But BJ and I were discussing it privately just before, and we were thinking like, is it because obviously Catch Pro has seen enormous growth this season, and we're like, was it like this last year? Like, was the growth rate the same, or do people just have more money right now? Like, what is it? But
And it's like specific to us too, because I don't want to pigeonhole everyone and say like everyone should be balling. Like, you know, I'm having a really good season, and I can't tell if it's the growth and or is it the customer base that am I doing what I love doing? Like it's just weird. I can't figure it out, whether it's the growth is out of control and the amount of work, like everybody, like we have a big circle of contractors that we know, and I'm just getting fucking flooded. Yeah. People are just handing off work. People who are...
But made the mower shops and everything.
Oh, man.
They're out of control.
Yeah.
But even in the 4 days that I've been here, Tuesday, you know, the sun was out. Wednesday, it was raining. Thursday, it rained a little bit, but the sun was out. So it's perfect conditions.
It's crazy.
Right?
Oh, dude.
Absolutely perfect.
Like, you can actually watch the grass grow.
Yeah, well, you probably saw a mow on Tuesday, and then by the time you left today, you're like, well,
but based on your weather, we talk about mower growth now. It's not like it's great sunny or it's high humidity. It's like, oh, well, there's at least 30-40% growth that particular day. So, So the pressure's on the sales guys to sell more products.
No, that's good. I mean, everyone should be really starting to see an improvement, because there was, with all that drought talk, which never fucking came close to eventuating, you know, a lot of people did start to slow down. I think they actually started to panic and pull back a little bit on marketing or whatever, and the consumer was just like...
You could even tell, BJ, from our episodes that we were doing.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like, we always try and have a positive attitude and tell people to still be productive, be proactive, you know, do these things. And we actually got to a point where, like, there's fucking nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
We're just like pressure cleaning, gutter clean. Just do what you can to get through the next 12 months, because who knows?
And that was only in October.
I know.
And it's just
we've seen it. And insanely, it's just flipped, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thank fuck.
And being here the last 4 days and talking to, you know, power tool specialists and talking to independent mowing specialists, they are insanely busy.
Now, before we go, can I rattle off a few cheeky products that I think that you guys would be looking into?
Fire away, mate.
Are these product suggestions?
Not suggestions, but like I want to see his reaction just to see if they are under
Can I
development.
do a product suggestion?
I
need to think of it. You guys talk.
So both at the same time?
No, you guys talk.
Are you guys
That's
going
the way Ben likes it.
Double team me? Or?
So we talked about an auger, but an aerator. Fuck.
Okay. So aerators. So how often would a commercial person use aerator?
So in my business, once or twice a year per job.
I think if someone was set up for it in their business, then quarterly, I think, would be a good system. Hey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's not really
it's not my forte, but I try and at least get one a year into these big sites. Okay. I know, like, the guys that do renos are probably calling me a dick face.
To me, it should be an emerging market for contractors that really nobody on the East Coast is capitalising on. But there's enormous upsell opportunities for contractors. And
well, I proved that when the drought thing hit. I was like, sent out just a bulk email to all of my customers. I'm going to be aerating from this date to this date. Right. We really need to get on top of this before this situation occurs. Wedding agent, everything. I tried to upsell everything, and they were my go-tos because I knew that if I could keep as much moisture into the
But then also,
soil,
listen to this, right? A lot of people, BJ included, just went out and hired a machine. Is that correct?
Yes.
I didn't lie?
Yeah.
Okay.
But for someone, you know, who may potentially already have some ego battos, then, you know, to invest in a skin, you know, it might only take you one season to make that skin back, and then you
could take one job depending on the price of the skin.
Really, I'm just being So, I wish we had more time. I'm having fun doing this.
Yeah. So that was my
couple minutes.
That was my first product.
Yeah.
Robo mower was my second product.
Robo mower.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's trying to pick it.
You have to be vocal because we're on a podcast. You can't just smile.
No. I said
I'm waiting for BJ's reaction as I smile.
I can imagine like a little green and grey banging around. I think.
Look, I guess any business that's in the OPE, well, if they're not looking at robot mowers, mate.
I don't think there's anyone. Yeah.
I mean, put it this way: we're doing them now.
Yeah.
You know, like
I think
I haven't sold one yet.
You know what?
I haven't bought
but
one
you're
yet
thinking
either.
about it, right?
But we are going to get into that space.
Even in the New Zealand market, because there's a lot of rolling hills, and when you talk about slopes, that's where robots live.
Yeah.
So our market's no different.
Okay.
I've got one.
Yeah, go for it.
But just if there's already one, just forgive me, okay? A cylinder mower.
Well,
So, okay, at the moment we've partnered up with Allet.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, so in terms of having a dedicated one that's not in the near product
Okay.
road feature.
So you'll probably just
Matt.
continue with that model.
Yeah. Well,
Now, is
again,
that a commercial?
Allet are the specialists in that market.
Yeah, yeah.
And that really sort of came about through Europe. And of course, when was it? A couple of years ago, I think it was, they dropped 500 in the market and that got snapped up pretty quickly.
I would imagine.
And there's apparently some really good feedback.
See, what I think is that there's some consumer confusion going on there. Obviously, you see the ego batteries and stuff, and then, but I think for someone just casually, like people probably think like, is that an ego?
Yeah.
But I just think with, like all the ego branding and
Yeah.
the whole machine behind that,
Yep.
I think that there's an opportunity.
Look, I guess our product road is full, really full. And category expansion you touched on before, Beach, but there's so much we want to do yesterday. But there's
Yeah.
only so many we can do today and tomorrow
Oh,
and
mate.
the day after. And
Even me.
and- yeah, so where we can partner up, which is what we did with Allet. So, at the moment, that's where we're at.
Just quickly, do you partner with any other manufacturing on any other products?
Oh, out of Europe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. In Europe, we have quite a few partners where it's powered by Ego.
Yeah,
So we've got Ego Powerhead, so it works off our batteries, obviously our chargers. But that's where
But I
I
think
guess that's where brands are starting to come to us. It's like we want to convert our petrol. We don't have the experience in battery.
But that also gives you guys a lot of credibility in the industry,
Oh,
right?
the brand endorsement is huge, mate.
Because people, and I hate to be so negative all the time, but people do look at particular brands and they're like, oh, they're coming out with this and what do they know about that or whatever. But once you've got backing from someone that has credibility, that believes then in your own brand, then it's golden.
It is gold.
Same thing happened with us. As soon as Corey took on my product in America, everyone stopped asking questions and they were like, okay, if that dude is selling it over there and he's backing it, then this has credibility. And it just changed everything.
It's significant endorsement, especially when you start talking brands with heritage and that are experts in a certain field, and Allet is, right. But there's other brands that we are involved in over in the UK, and we're starting to see that demand happening in different regions. So
very
watch this
exciting.
Do you
space.
have one? I got one more that's really far fetched, which I don't expect.
you do yours first. I want to know what it is.
Like a little skid steer, like a bobcat type of dingo type of thing.
Not as such.
Yeah, but at least someone's thought of it.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
I thought of it.
There's not a lot of things we haven't thought of.
Yeah, okay.
It's about prioritising.
Do you have any sex toys?
I could only imagine
power to
jackhammering
weight.
myself with a 10 amp. When will this fucking end?
I was just going to say the power to weight
finished.
ratio might sort of be a problem there.
Oh, that's my problem all the
Yeah.
time, power to weight.
You got another? You got another one, BJ?
Nah, I got nothing, mate.
All right, cool. So thank you for joining us.
Appreciate
Awesome.
the opportunity.
It's been
boys.
awesome, mate.
Good to
Skull
catch up.
sessions. I think it's been. Look, we obviously had fun during this episode, but we learnt a lot. Hey.
Yeah, cool.
So thank you very much for joining us, and thanks everyone for listening. I know BJ and I haven't been pumping out as many episodes as we wanted to this year. Hopefully, we figure out our schedules so we can get this, regular thing happening again. We are approaching 100,000 downloads, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Well done.
Getting there.
So, anyway, until then, I am at Cashbro, he's at TBL, and he's at Ego. We're out of time.
Yeah.
Mike's still alive, Baz. Don't say anything stupid just yet.